If you're a woman and you ever thought about wanting to become a millionaire, this is absolutely a book you should read. As part of entering our Smart Girl era this year, welcome to the first episode of our Financial Hot Girl Book Club, where I'm going to share and discuss highlights and summaries from some of my favorite personal finance, career, motivational, spiritual books that are helping me make more money, whatever topic they're in. If you're a woman of color, if you work in corporate, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or business owner, and even if you're none of those things but want to be all of those things, I would absolutely pick up this book, because Rachel in this book gives you a step-by-step roadmap on actually how to develop million-dollar systems, million-dollar teams, million-dollar vision to actually becoming a million-dollar woman. And that's one key thing that I love about this book. It's super duper practical. There are loads of actionable things that you can take away from the book, and I actually found it overwhelming to the point of I would read prepared to take away notes and action points, some of which I've already done, which I really never do when I read a book. I never actually do things after I read it. And to quote Rachel from the book, instead of just admiring women who earn millions and change the world, become one. So let's figure out how to do it. Now, the book starts off with a chapter on mindset and your money story, and I think this is really important because we have to actually acknowledge and recognize that as we're growing up, what we see around us of money and how wealth and stuff is handled will then determine how we're going to go and earn and spend and save and invest our money later on in life. So Rachel really challenges us to recognize and challenge all the limiting beliefs that we hold about money and do the things, whether they're affirmations or exercises, to try and build an abundance mindset in the present day to kind of combat that. And later on in the book, something I love that she talks about is the fact that being a millionaire isn't as egotistical and selfish as it actually sounds, especially expressing the fact that you want to be a millionaire. Because really and truly, having more money means that you have more money to actually give back to your community and your network. You're able to contribute to causes that you care about. You're able to create jobs for people. You're able to create opportunities. You're able to maybe even build a lifetime of security for your family and immediate family members. You're able to create and shape an environment, a world that you actually want to live in. And it just really brings to light how wealth really expands a lot further past just you and your bank account, depending on how you choose to spend it. Rachel talks about million-dollar decisions, and million-dollar decisions really forms the basis of what I think is a financial hot girl lifestyle, because it truly is the sum of your decisions that make up your life. It's the sum of your decisions that are informed by your habits, which also inform the lens in which you view life. And in this book, Rachel really talks about how to stop making broke-ass decisions and start making million-dollar decisions instead. Because million-dollar decisions are the decisions that provide you with more time, more money, more freedom, more energy, and more space for things that actually matter to you, and also don't take away those things as well. And she uncovers and talks about the fact that most of us make broke-ass decisions because we want to be liked, especially as women. And she gives us a very neat framework for breaking down the decisions you're potentially making in your life that are broke-ass and how to turn them into million-dollar decisions. And a really cool thing I noticed that Rachel talks about is scarcity signals that inform your broke-ass decisions. i.e. it's really much easier to make those million-dollar decisions without these scarcity signals. And what Rachel highlights as scarcity signals are things like your physical surroundings, the media messages you're taking in, your home, your wardrobe, your work life, your daily habits, the things you own, and noticing whether all of these things send you signals of scarcity, like things are going to run out, or things are going to break or die, or nothing is enough, having to settle, or doing more with less, versus those feelings of abundance. And it really got me thinking about what my life space is filled of, and like what signals I'm getting from those, and how those actually influence my energy, which actually influence the decisions I then go to make. And this all comes back down to the financial hot girl mindset. Like, I know that when I'm feeling good and the world isn't falling in on me, and that there is enough of whatever it is that I want in life, that I'm able to make decisions that serve a million-dollar version of myself rather than keep a broke-ass version of myself as a broke-ass version of myself. Broke-ass decisions are made most of the time because as women we want to be liked, especially as a corporate girl, especially as someone raised in a people-pleasing environment or as a people pleaser. The decisions are keeping me me comfortable and safe in that environment. And a quote that she says that I love is, "You can't be an economic powerhouse and be liked by everyone. It's just not possible." And actually, I went to a Roxy Nafusi manifestation show a few weeks ago, and Roxy asked everyone a question which had me dumbfounded and actually gave me a little bit of a light bulb moment. She asked us this: "Do you like everyone?" And I immediately thought, no, I don't like everyone. I have the people I like, I have the people I don't like, or I have the traits that I don't like. So of course I should expect other people to have the exact same views that I have. You cannot be liked by everyone, so stop making those decisions to conform to that. Another chapter that I loved was $1 Million Boundaries. I really struggle with boundaries myself, so I found this super useful, especially because of how practical the book is on every strategy that she gives you. And I love how nuanced everything is as well, because whether we're actually in careers or not, as women, we are burdened with a lot of domestic and unpaid labor at times, which piles up on top of stuff that we actually want to get done professionally. And a quote that I absolutely loved from the book on boundaries is that boundaries isn't saying no to other people, boundaries is saying yes to yourself. And that kind of blew my mind a little bit. But I also found a book on unpaid labor and kind of managing domestic and household labor called Fair Play, which I actually had my partner read and I'm going to read next, to help with $1 Million Boundaries, enforcing them in the household as well. But Rachel does talk about having to set those boundaries at work and at home, and the fact that if you don't enforce them, they're not actually boundaries in itself. But this ties in really well with how much she emphasized decisions and general actions that you make towards your $1 million self shouldn't be for people-pleasing tendencies, shouldn't be for other people. You should be saying yes and making decisions for yourself. Now, Rachel also talks about building a wealthy and healthy environment, i.e. your $1 Million Squad, which leans into the idea, the very well-known idea, that you are made up of what you surround yourself with. And actually, according to research by a social psychologist, the people you habitually associate yourself with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure rate in life. So you have to watch where you're looking for that wealth of yours to grow. Are you surrounding yourself with people that speak of like big visions, big ideas, big dreams? And if you're not, can you seek out, mentors, communities, networks? Can you join masterminds or groups, or participate in online free communities that are like-minded with your own ideas and goals and ambitions for life? Because these days, and especially in this digital age, it's so much easier to actually curate the environment that you want to be in. Rachel also talks about $1 million pricing and negotiating your worth. Now, utilizing the negotiation table as a place to recognize your value and your worth is something I personally really struggle with, so I took this chapter on. But as well as the practical strategies that Rachel gives you to increase your rates and advocate for yourself better, like researching market rates, preparing your work, recognizing and tracking your achievements, Rachel touches on why, as women, we have been programmed to not actually believe in our worth as much as men, and also undercharge for our skills, and undercharge and under kind of believe in our value. For me, she highlighted the importance of a value-based pricing strategy. I definitely had a mindset more geared towards a time-based pricing strategy, but this chapter really nicely touches on how if women earn more, we can actually contribute more to the economy and have such a bigger impact on the world simply through charging for a little bit more. And it's just a little bit more at the end of the day. Doubling your prices seems crazy to you, but if you're using a value-based pricing strategy, it actually is nothing to whoever you're providing that value to. And going straight into strategy and actionable advice, Rachel talks about how to actually figure out what that value is in the $1 Million Value Strategy. And I really loved this chapter because Rachel talks about imposter syndrome and why it is that women actually do struggle to ask for what we're worth and actually reach our own full potential most of the time. Talking about how to reframe our thoughts around that and actually find our zone of genius, which is a concept from The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, which is also another book that I absolutely love. But Rachel talks about having our zone of genius and actually finding out what it is that sits in that zone and honoring that when we're figuring out what it is that we can do to provide real value and then also charge for that value as well. And for me, this was slightly mind-blowing because I think for most of us, we do sit in our zone of competence, things that we know we are competent in, but probably don't give us that flow state or give us that complete fire under our bums when we're doing it. And something I really took away from this chapter is going away and doing proper science-based strength tests to figure out what it is you actually like doing. And also, really importantly, recognizing that the things that you're not good at or potentially aren't your strengths, they're not necessarily weaknesses. They're just things that aren't in your zone of genius and can later be delegated or can just not be focused on. It's just a way to kind of figure out where you're shining that spotlight in your life rather than just coasting at something that you figured out that kind of works. Now, my second favorite chapter is Million Dollar Vision. And the reason I loved this chapter is just because as a type A Virgo, I absolutely love the detail. And in this chapter, she talks about how you can dream big, but that big dream needs to have that clarity and detail in it in order for you to aim for it in the first place. And I absolutely love this quote from this chapter where she talks about a reason to dream big and make your goals massive is that there's actually less competition, because not that many people are going to dream big and actually chase after it at the same time. Most people aim for average rather than greatness, which means there's going to be plenty of room for you at the top. And really and truly, when we set a big vision for our lives, we are actively making a choice to stop coasting and going for something that we want and actually getting to the nitty-gritty of what that looks like, what that life would cost, what that life would make, what that life would then allow you to do is really, really inspiring. And it really makes me want to take action, because then you almost feel a bit more connected to things when you can see them on paper. And again, she just acknowledges the nuance really greatly, because she talks about how for a lot of people, especially women of color, we may not have actually seen these big visions. We don't know how to dream big because we've never seen it in our real lives. So actually dreaming big can be difficult, which is why I just love social media as well, because especially if you're following aspirational content and content that makes you want to dream big, at least you can see what it looks like so you know what to aim for. And finally, she talks about million dollar teams, which is essentially a lot about outsourcing, delegating. But the thing that she touches on, which I absolutely love, is the fact that when you do outsource and delegate, you can actually use the concept from The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks and hire people for whom the thing you want to delegate to them is their zone of genius. So it's being quite strategic with actually how you're building a team and a strategy that helps you make $1 million, and also just emphasizes that the roadmap to being a millionaire is actually buying back your time and putting more time of yours into your own zone of genius. And it's actually backed by science, because there is a recent study of research done at Harvard that concluded that if you want to be happier, you have to buy back your time. And so $1 million team is actually the key way to being a happy millionaire, not just a millionaire. So there's my highlights and summaries from some of my favorite chapters in the book. I honestly think you should definitely give it a buy if you're a little bit of an anxious corporate girl, because there are definitely some lessons here that can be applied if you're an employee. But so many of these are just really useful if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or business owner. And if you're thinking about getting more into reading to get smarter and have better quality conversations, I would watch this video on how to enter your smart girl era. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of our Financial Hot Girl Book Club.